Welcome back, everybody, to Rantpocalypse Talks Westworld. I'm Justin.
Hey, I'm Kelly. We are the greatest mother and son podcast YouTube team ever.
Man, who told you that?
Someone that was listening to our podcast, not our guest.
Our podcast. Sometimes it is a gas.
It said something about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I don't say that anymore. So
yes, we are mother and son, and we like to get together and chat about TV shows that we love. And one show that we love in particular is Westworld, and that's what we're here to do, is chat about episode number 6, which was entitled Adversary. So what did you think about this episode?
I thought it was great. I thought it was really long. I didn't...
How many times have you watched it?
I've watched it like 4 or 5, and then when you know you're on your 5th viewing and you start taking notes, you're like, holy shit! Now I'm gonna quit bitching about AMC's commercials, you know, for The Walking Dead, because if I would have had some commercials in there, it wouldn't have been quite.
Yeah, because then you can take some time. You're like,
yes.
oh, okay, yeah. Sometimes I pause, but I try not to pause too much because, yeah, you're trying to get through the episode. And yes, whenever you're on your 4th or 5th viewing, which that's not to say that we're going to remember everything, because we are the world's worst. We may be the world's greatest mother and son podcast and YouTube team. We're also the world's worst mother and son remembering team, because we do miss some details sometimes, yes, even though we've watched it many, many times.
Over and over again.
I absolutely love this episode as well. I thought it was a nice change because we focused a lot more on the humans in this episode, because a lot of the times with Westworld, you never truly know who is indeed a human, or maybe they are actually a host.
Mm-hmm. And we still don't know all of those.
Well, yeah, exactly. We definitely don't know all those. And that's why I really enjoyed this episode, because I felt like we had gotten a lot of Dolores in the past, and I really liked, we got a lot of Maeve in this episode, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, we got no Dolores this time, which was really, really weird. And something that I just noticed, and I don't know, maybe everyone else has already caught on to this, and I'm just now catching it, but
yeah,
you know, because we don't know who Dolores is, was that maybe Arnold's wife that she was molded after, or whatever. Dolores and Delos.
Coming together like that.
Yeah, I mean, from a glance, Dolores and Delos look like the same word.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, like was the company named after her? Shut up, asshole! Have you mentioned this before?
No.
Then don't laugh at me like you know this. I already know all this. So.
No, I've definitely never mentioned that one before, but you can never.
I love it when you say it like that. Oh, I've never mentioned that one before.
I'm like, well, you can never discount anything, back there and behind me.
I'm sorry, you're gonna feel really shitty when we find out that is the whole name for this company, was after Dolores.
Could be. For me, I do miss not seeing Dolores.
Sorry.
Thank you for those. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I do miss when we don't see Dolores on the screen. We talked about her last week of how much of a badass she is. Mm-hmm. But I do like that we get to focus a lot more on Maeve's character. I think Tandy Newton, I can never remember how to pronounce her name, but I'm going to go with Thandy because I like Thandy more.
Sure, Thandy. Go with Thandy.
Yes, I did like Thandy's portrayal of Maeve in this episode. I think she did a fantastic job. But when you're talking about Dolores and maybe she is Ford's wife, we've talked about that before. That what is this affinity with Dolores? Because we do see her in this notebook that Ford has that looks like it's kind of the designs of everything to do with the world of Westworld, and she is one of the prominent drawings in those designs is Dolores's face and everything. And one of the most interesting things, of course, at least to me in this episode, was whenever Bernard takes a trip to Sector 17 and we are introduced to these hosts that are not a part of anything. Nobody knows they exist, and then we find out that Ford knows they exist because they are versions of his family, which completely blew my mind whenever we go in there and the father host is about to choke Bernard out. I'm like, oh shit,
I
Bernard's a
know.
goner right here.
Poor
Because
dude.
I
He's
keep,
like, shut
yeah,
down,
yeah,
stop.
analysis. Yeah, because for me, I keep feeling like we're going to have a human death on the
Right.
show from one of
Hmm.
these hosts. I feel like it's just building and building towards that, and it may come in next week's episode because we do see Pennyfeather straight up just destroying some dude's
Right.
head into the glass wall. So maybe that's when it comes. But I find it very interesting, and I know that a lot of us people that are huge theorists with Westworld are now wondering who the hell is Arnold actually? Because whenever we see a picture that Ford shows to Bernard in previous episodes, it was a picture of a man standing next to a younger Ford. And so you automatically assume, because even talking about Arnold in that, whenever that image comes up, he's kind of explaining to Bernard who Arnold is, and
Right.
a little bit of a backstory between him and Arnold. So you're led to assume that that's Arnold. But now that we know that that person in the image was actually his father, who the crap is Arnold? Because and you can even look at it, and I'm going to have it as the thumbnail of this video. There's a little silhouette of somebody there. And so the only explanation that I can think of right now is that it could be Bernard. And Bernard, we brought this up, I think, after episode 2, like what's really going on with
Right.
Bernard? Is he
Right.
really a human? Is he actually a host? Because if he's a host, that would have been wiped from his memory, and that's why he wouldn't be able to see himself in that image. And that's why when we're looking at the image as viewers and we're seeing, like, because most of the time if you take a picture with your friends, right, and there's if there's only two people in the photo, you kind of you get it close, right?
Right.
And you don't have like this gigantic space unless you're me
Tip.
taking the photo, because I suck at taking photos. But you try to zoom in right there.
Hmm.
But there's this huge space right here. So in my opinion, I definitely feel like it could be Bernard in that, or they're just hiding it, because the Arnold reveal obviously is going to be a
Right.
major reveal. Because even in previous episodes, whenever Daddy Abernathy,
Hmm.
he saw the photo and Dolores didn't think anything of it. Like she couldn't tell like what he was seeing. Like it didn't throw her off. But for him, he's like, I can't compute. I'm
See,
staying up all night.
I never knew, for me with her looking at that photo, if it actually didn't compute with her, or if she was already so far advanced that she just was trying to throw everybody off by just saying, "Oh, Daddy, I don't know what you're worried about. That's nothing." Because I kind of felt like already at that point she already knew that she's being listened to, she's being viewed. Um, you know, she's not supposed to know anything that's being going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So she's not supposed to know that there are people that come and drop off pictures sometimes. I don't know. I wasn't I'm still not too sure about her character, and
I
who or how much she actually knows. I do know if she and Maeve get together, shit's going to go down
yes.
in Sweetwater, because the two of them, I think, probably have more brain power than just about everybody combined at this point.
Yeah, I can't wait. I absolutely love the fact that it feels like we're playing, we're seeing a video game being played out.
Hmm.
Whenever the attributes on your character, you level your
Oh
character
yeah.
up, and
So,
that's what's so cool about it, right?
yeah, you start off every game, and you're like, okay, what do I want to give them? Do I want to give them more charm because this is going to help them? And and everything makes a huge difference in how
Yes.
they interact with other characters in the game. And it was kind of interesting to me that Maeve decided that, when she convinces Felix and Sylvester that, hey, go along with me or you're going to be really screwed,
Yeah.
that she wants to take down her loyalty. I thought that was interesting. Take down her pain so that next time she comes for a visit to them, it's not going to hurt as much. And take up her bulk
Perce-
apperception.
yeah, bulk perception.
Because I that was another one of those things that I stopped and, you know, peeked at
Yeah.
on the
You're like,
screen. Yeah, which
what is
yeah.
every one of those attributes that she has going
Right.
on? What do you always go with on video games? Because it's always strength, intelligence, charm.
Right.
What is your go-tos
Okay.
on the video
Well,
games?
I used to think charm and agility were really great, but I
Yeah.
have learned that I like to run away. And when I run away, I want to be able to carry all my stuff with me. So I have to be
Yeah.
strong. So,
Endurance and strength right
yes,
there.
I bring those way up. So, and eventually try to, kind of up on the smarts as I go along. So, what about you?
I always go with strength no matter
Yeah.
what. I know, and that is the most boring attribute usually in a game because most everybody plays their game and they're just like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of everybody that encounter. Every NPC I come across, I'm gonna be so much stronger than that character. I'm just gonna bash their brains out. But I do really like it whenever I see on a YouTube video or whatever it is, or if I'm just watching a friend play
Hmm.
and they play the complete opposite way of me, where they just go straight charm, straight intelligence, and they kind of manipulate the game to come to them as opposed to, me brute strength going out and taking
Right.
everybody on by myself. They manipulate the other characters and say, do this for me, do this for me. And I wish I could be
I
like that
know.
in real life.
I know, and I played Fallout
Hmm.
4 all the way through, and I thought, well, I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play it differently, and so you have to go in and assign those characteristics, and I still couldn't do it. I couldn't give myself a ton of charm or agility. I'm like, put all of it on the strength, do it
Yeah,
all,
this
especially
dude's gonna carry every freaking item in this
everything.
game.
He's going to have 100 guns with him, so.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're on the same page with that. I do like Maeve's strategy
Yeah.
where she's just going to be smarter than everybody.
Yeah.
She's going to outsmart every single person in the park. Sylvester couldn't have had a better freaking name. That is so fitting for him because I just kept calling him Tweedledum. I don't know if his name came up in a previous episode, but whenever she called him Sylvester, I was like, that is perfection for your name.
Yeah, I just thought it had to be shocking for him when she calls him by his name. She's, you know, how
Yeah.
do you know who I am? I loved everything about that encounter. How scared he was, how much she knew about what was going on, and she's like, in 5 minutes, I figured out your little scheme. Took me 5 whole minutes to figure that out. Um, I just, I think she might have only been at a 14 before, but she was a pretty smart 14.
Yeah, 14 on the host scale must be
Yeah.
borderline genius level for us mere humans and whatnot. No, I completely loved everything about that. I love the fact that she keeps going back to Felix. Now, I know a lot of people have pointed out how the hell does she just get back to Felix every single
That's
time?
that because they want to work on the same ones. They know, if I've worked on you, I know what your quirks are. I know
That's
how,
what I feel like
yeah,
too. I feel like that these people that are working in the back setting of Delos, I feel like they're assigned to certain hosts.
right.
Maybe not, but think about it in our everyday jobs. If you work at a company where they have certain brands, well, you've got brand managers that are managing those brands every single time.
Right.
It's not like they throw, you're managing Kit Kat and Hershey's bar, and then all of a sudden one day they throw a Reese's in there.
Yeah,
No, you
that's not
manage
right.
those same ones
Exactly.
every single day. To me, that's the easiest explanation.
Yeah.
I don't think too much about it. I don't think about, well, that's impossible. That's the show, just glossing over a major fact.
There's
It
too
doesn't
much
bother
other
me.
stuff for me to try to wrap my brain around to worry about whether she should be
Indeed.
going back to Felix every time. Because the more this show goes along, uh, the deeper and deeper it gets, and I'm starting. My mind is breaking a little bit.
If it was rabbit holes, there'd be rabbit holes all
Mhm.
throughout my mind at this point. Whenever I watch this show, which is we've talked about it before, is a great thing. I loved whenever she initially comes she meets Felix. I love the fact that she used that guest to choke her out. It was
I know.
very disturbing,
Yes.
but in a very smart way. Not only in a smart way to get her back to Felix, but yes, being choked out would totally suck, but she didn't do any major damage to her body. She didn't get shot up like a million times. She I guess made a strategic move to say, well, I'm going to get this guy to choke me out. There was one thing though with Pennyfeather.
Yeah.
Why did she look so ragged?
I thought that was interesting too. Like a human,
Hmm.
I mean, because you always think that they're reset basically every night and that, their loop kind of starts over again, and that you would look all fresh and perfect and wonderful. But she looked like she had had a really rough night. And I loved that because that was another thing that kind of broke my brain a little bit. Um, I guess maybe they don't. Every night isn't just this wonderful beauty sleep.
That's
She,
what I would want.
yeah.
I would want the shut off button
Hmm.
after I had to do nasty things
What
with a
if
lot
she
of these
worked?
nasty guests.
What if she worked all night?
She could work for an entire weekend, I guess.
Yeah.
If one guest or a few guests wanted her for a weekend,
Right.
then yeah, she's just going to be there working the entire time. I did find it very interesting though.
Hmm.
Whenever she come in, she was looking like she needed to take a nap.
Hmm.
That is for damn sure. But I loved whenever Felix takes Maeve on a tour of
Ah,
Westworld behind the
gosh.
scenes of the park, and she sees that commercial with her in it.
Right.
And I just loved everything about that. I love that whenever she's trying to improvise and she just kind of short circuits
Right.
because
Right.
she can't figure out how to improvise and beat this system.
Which,
It's going to be fantastic
yeah.
seeing Maeve, just the reins being taken off of her.
Right.
She's completely loose.
Well,
So it's going to be
if you
fun.
think about it, he took her upstairs and she got to walk through everything, and she handled it so well. I mean, we would have been squalling and he would have been dragging us along on our knees, oh my God, what's going on? Because obviously this is all technology that she's not seen before. She doesn't know what's happening.
And
Um,
these are her friends.
yeah, and all
This
of
is
her
be
friends
like
are
seeing,
bleeding everywhere and with holes in them and dead. And I mean, it's awful. And
and that music was killer.
yeah, and then, I mean, and she looks over and uh, there's a bison and a deer in the middle of people. I mean, it's just bizarro land, but she handles it. And I thought, man, she's just so tough. So if she's tough now, how is she going to be later when, all of her smarts are turned up even more? So,
I think that she's going to attempt to save another host. That's to me is whenever you look at this is I guess a slight spoiler alert if you haven't seen any of the teaser trailers that are coming next week, or they never say next episode.
right,
It just says in the weeks to come,
right.
because it does look like they're coming to shut Pennyfeather down because of her knocking that guy's head into the wall. And I feel like Maeve is going to step out and not allow that to happen, which is going to be very awkward because whenever the people of Delos come in to clean out the bodies and do all that kind of stuff, all the hosts are basically shut down at that point. They kind
Mm-hmm.
of go into freeze mode, and for her to come out of freeze mode and be like, "Bitch, I'll stab you," is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'm very excited about that to happen. It's ramping up
Mm-hmm.
quite nicely. I
Yeah.
mean, we've only have what 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 4 episodes left. That was very hard math to do, people. I don't, I
Oh,
had to think about
thank
that for
goodness I
quite.
didn't have to go to another hand.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
will we find out who the man in black, who he actually is before the end of this season? It doesn't look like, I mean, they're not screwing up anywhere. No one
No.
is accidentally calling him by any name. I mean, it makes me crazy that every time I have to write, MIB on my
Yeah.
notes instead of knowing what his name actually is. So, and it would help, I think, draw the picture a little bit easier if once we discover what his name is. I think it's going to be helpful to us.
I think so. I'm excited to find that out. I hope that that's a reveal towards the last 4 episodes of this season, because I feel like it's going to be a huge reveal.
Yeah, his
I
name
don't
is
think,
Fred, and we'll be like, Fred? Who the
like,
frick is Fred?
yeah, who the character? I mean, maybe his name is never revealed, to be quite honest,
Yeah.
and maybe he just goes on in this season, and maybe we find out more about him in next season. All we know for sure is that somebody knew him in the world outside of
Right.
Westworld, and that his sister was saved, I guess.
Okay, let me.
But we don't know from what. Who knows at this point? I loved everything about them in this episode. I thought the Man in Black and Teddy are the dynamic duo.
Yeah.
I love this pairing on screen. I hope that we get more of them. You know, there's shows we watch. Game of Thrones comes to mind whenever we get a pairing that's so damn good.
Everyone with Tyrion.
Yeah, basically everyone with Tyrion is brought up a level, because Jorah, I love Jorah, certain things about him, but he's not the most fun, charismatic character. But whenever you got paired Jorah and Tyrion, you're like, oh shit, Jorah and Tyrion, this is awesome. But whenever I see Teddy and the Man in Black on, every scene that they had in this episode, I thought was fantastic. As I was going to ask you that too, to go along, it's not necessarily who the Man in Black is, but who is Teddy, because I'm really starting to think that there is no Wyatt,
No.
and that Teddy is Wyatt.
He might be Wyatt. Yeah. That's going to be really sad for Teddy, because I don't think that he's expecting that at all. Now, I think he's expecting it a little bit more after this episode, after he sees those flashbacks of, that, oh man, I was kind of a shit and I killed a bunch of people. We still don't know why he did in the flashback. Maybe it wasn't as it appeared, but I know it was a shock for him. So, I do
he
have
mowed
to.
those people down too. Sorry, I was going to say that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty great. When he suddenly stepped up and didn't get killed again, like he always does. Bless his little heart. I was going to ask you though. Okay, so the Man in Black had to work so hard to find the maze in a scalp in one of the hosts' head, and now it's every friggin' where. Everywhere you go, we see the friggin' maze.
Yeah.
Is that just because now are they trying to say we know what it is, so then we'll see it in everything? But it just, it seems like, the guys are playing dominoes. They scooch off the dominoes. It's carved into the table. It's in Ford's notes. I wrote down all the different places that it was, and I'm like, good Lord, it's everywhere.
Yeah, well, it's been showing up the last couple of episodes for sure. It's been showing up on a lot of stuff. We talked about whenever it showed up when Dolores, Lawrence, and Jimmy were in that train car, and it was on the box, and yeah, it's showing up a crap ton more. I don't know if that is just to make our brains melt in the sense of, why is it showing up here? This is so weird. Because obviously it's not a coincidence, and it's not like something where it is in the background where you wouldn't notice it. It's in the foreground every time that it's shown. So we are definitely
supposed to see it.
Our eyes are led right to it. I have no explanation of why we keep seeing it. It does suck that the Man in Black had to scalp some dude.
Yeah.
I forget what that guy's name is, but poor dude lost his head so that
Kissy.
way he could get.
That was Kissy.
Kissy. Yeah, poor Kissy. I don't know at this point. And whenever Teddy talks about the maze to the Man in Black, and he says the maze itself is the sum of a man's life, the choices he makes, the dreams he hangs on to. And then he goes into that there's a legendary man that's killed over and over again.
Who does that sound like? It sounds like Teddy. He gets killed over and over again.
Yeah, he does get killed over and over again. It reminded me of 12 Monkeys, because getting stuck in loops and everything.
Right.
All the time travel in 12 Monkeys. That's the first thing I'm thinking of. I'm like, oh, Cole, he's going through loops. If you don't watch 12 Monkeys, you'll never get that. It's a really good show. I enjoy it. I don't, off the top of my head, first impression, I thought, okay, he's talking about Arnold, right? That Arnold is this legendary man, but he's stuck in this loop, and he then returns to vanquish all of his foes one last time. Because right now, that's what we're seeing play out is Arnold's telling the hosts what to do. He's manipulating them. They're starting to become more sentient. And whenever we tied that into what happens with young Robert Ford, the little boy that we see, his freaking face comes out, and he's the old. Oh, it was incredible. I'm like, oh my god, it's like straight out of Terminator or something. We see that he's killing the poor dog, and he's lying to Ford.
All the things that they're not supposed to be able to do.
Yep, exactly. So right now, I'm thinking easy. Easy answer is that Arnold is the one that's at the center of the maze. That's the easiest assumption right there. But I'm with you. I feel like it's going to be some kind of twist or something. I don't know if it's going to be Teddy, but I do like that. He's killed over and over and over again. He's the one stuck in this loop.
Yeah, bless his heart. And he wants to build a house with Dolores and hide them away in a maze so that no one can ever get to them. That's his hopes and dreams. But I don't think that, bless his heart, I don't think that's ever happening. But yeah, there's so many questions. Will we ever find out who Arnold is? Is Arnold actually somebody that we already know? We already find out that Teresa has been the one that was actually supposedly transmitting to some of the older hosts and talking to them in their brain.
Yeah, she was the one smuggling the data out.
Oh yes, but she wasn't.
Yeah, we don't know if Elsie never got it out who was talking to all the old hosts, because you assume the Stray is an old host, that maybe it's all the other old hosts, because Elsie, she said, "Oh, I got to talk to you. Lots of other crazy shit's happening," and Bernard cuts it off and says, "Oh, I'll have to talk to you later."
Talk to you later. Yeah, I know you're in some scary place that looks like it's somebody's, grandma's attic, and it's all dusty and disgusting.
What is up with the lighting on all the places they go? Bernard, whenever he goes to B82, and we do get that amazingly awesome little Easter egg of Yul Brynner's character. The original Man in Black. I thought that was fantastic. But I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell is going on? There's no lights in there.
Can they not afford it in this park? I mean, come on.
They've been hemorrhaging money. I don't know, but and then whenever Elsie goes to this place, I'm like, come on, girl, flip the lights on. What the hell are you doing? Nobody goes in scary places like that.
What was so weird too was, so she's carrying a flashlight. She doesn't, flip on a light. It's all dusty and disgusting. She pulls back, this blanket, and underneath it, there's a working computer, and she just touches it, and it has electricity and fires right up. So I'm like, okay, so we've got electricity here somewhere, or the world's greatest computer battery that none of mine possess.
No, our batteries definitely suck big time. Does it feel like we keep getting little glimpses of what could be like medieval world, or is that just giving us little Easter eggs to people that watch the movie that know about medieval world and all the different worlds that the Westworld movie contained? Because it wasn't just the West, it had other worlds that you could go to. So because whenever she's in that room, there was all stuff that looks like it should be from Shakespeare plays or theater plays and whatnot, and
that didn't fit into Westworld.
It did not fit in Westworld whatsoever, and I don't know if that's just hey, look at us, we added some stuff in here to give you the movie fans a little more appreciation, or if it's really saying this is what's coming in season 2. We're actually going to take the show to these other worlds that we're not showing you right now.
Well, I mean, think about it. Will it be interesting for us to every season be in Westworld? I mean, it's interesting now, but if I'm a writer, I'd love to expand it to the rest of the theme parks that are under Delos's umbrella. So
that Game of Thrones crossover. Oh, yeah. It would be George R. R. Martin already said he was down for it. They go to medieval world. It could be Game of Thrones crossover.
If Jamie is there, I'm forking out the $30,000 a damn day to go.
Oh, you got the cheap ass room. Mine was $48,000 a
Oh, was
day.
it? Was it?
Yeah, I
Mm,
must have got the more expensive room.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
don't care. I'm not going to be in my room. I'm going to be in Jamie's room.
you're going to be in Jamie's room the entire time. So to tie it back in, what do you think's going on with Ford, him meeting his family? Do you have any additional thoughts on that? Do you think that Wyatt actually exists? What's your final thoughts on all of those things? And for me, another one is uh, how does this tie? I always want to tie it back into things we've seen previously on the episodes,
Yeah.
because I still feel like I forget what Daddy Abernathy's name, what his first name was,
I think
but
it was
just
Daddy
yeah, just
or
Daddy.
Mister.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm hoping he shows back
I hope
up,
so too. I loved him, and
and it's got
yeah,
to tie back, right?
right.
Because Bernard didn't say something to him for no reason, and we're led to believe that Elsie is, she's taken away by somebody bad. That's your immediate assumption that it's somebody bad. A part of me
I don't
feels
think it
like,
is, but
yeah, a part of me feels like Bernard has a few hosts out there that he has on his side. Or am I just imagining that? Because whenever he talked to Peter, is it Peter Abernathy? That was
yes,
his name.
yes, yes, yes.
Whenever he talked to him and he whispered in his ear, and it's like, why would you whisper in his ear? There's something there, and I feel like Bernard and Elsie are the only two truly good people on the
Right,
show,
right.
that they have no hidden agenda, that they're just truly there to do their job, to be good.
Okay,
And
Elsie, we know for sure is truly there to be good. We've had questions about Bernard before,
yeah,
whether he, because of whispering in a host's ear. I mean, what would you say to them? Hey, buddy, it'll be all right, or just hang on tight. The revolution is on the way.
yeah, exactly. Viva la
Yeah,
revolution.
exactly. So who knows? But I think Elsie is she's just there to do her dadgum job, even if it's in the scary freaking attic, with spiders and dust and and but I don't feel like I felt like that was her partner. What's his name? Is it Stubbs?
Yeah, Stubbs.
I don't know why, but I felt like that. I thought that looked like his arm. I mean, it was his arm was there wasn't much of a shot, but
Well, doesn't he always wears like a dark uh, button up or a dark jacket.
yeah,
That's
like
the
a
two things that we've seen him in, like a little sports, not a sports coat, but like a
a
windbreaker
windbreaker
type,
jacket.
yeah, type of jacket.
Like your
I don't know.
grandfather used to wear all the time.
Indeed,
hmm
indeed.
So I need to go back and look at that to check it out because I'd hate for something bad to happen to her anyway. But to answer your question, I have no idea on is what's going on with Ford and his family. Is it truly just that he was sentimental and he wanted to keep those hosts around that reminded him of his people, because it didn't really
Of
seem
his
like
horrible upbringing,
that's what I was gonna say. I mean,
apparently.
they weren't. It wasn't a happy family. His dad was a drunk jerk.
Yeah,
So
I like that it was a gift from Arnold, but I also like that Ford tweaked them to be more similar to
mm,
how they actually were. That his dad was a drunk, and
hmm
I don't know. It's very interesting stuff. I feel that over the last couple episodes, I'm thinking, oh, well, Ford's not a complete asshole anymore. Maybe he's not the supervillain of this. Maybe he literally is the John Hammond of Westworld. That he's just kind of, a little bit too into himself for his own good, and that's what is ultimately his demise.
hmm
Because in Jurassic Park, he wasn't necessarily a bad guy,
no, no, he was a
but
great guy.
he just he didn't pay too much attention to the finer details, and it ended up in the book costing him his life. They did not go that way in the movie version, but I don't know. It's gonna be some fantastic damn episodes that are coming up. I had one other thing that I wanted to bring up, and that is just the fact that I really love Tessa Thompson in the episode. Damn, she is gorgeous. I'm curious to see what her role is going to be going forward.
She's going to be the one that's going to fire Lee. That's what her role is going to be.
She's definitely going to fire Lee Sizemore. He kind of screwed that up, especially when he's talking to everybody with his wang out.
Uh-huh.
Not the best time to talk to everybody with your wang out, unless you are what's his name that couldn't pour the stuff into the cups.
He didn't
maybe
have to have a name.
Yeah, maybe yeah.
That dude was
no name required for him.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you give this episode out of Bacon's?
I'm gonna give this a 4.5.
4.5. To me, this was the best episode of the season outside of the premiere, the pilot episode for me. So I'm going to give it 5 Bacons.
Woo, 5 Bacons.
Well, I don't even know if we rated last week's episode out of Bacon. Sometimes we forget. Like we said, we're the world's greatest mother and son forgetful team. But yeah, we want to know your thoughts on the episode. Let us know in the comment box down below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on podcast services, you can email us. It's rantpocalypse@gmail.com. And I just wanted to say a huge shout out and a huge thank you for all of the amazing comments and feedback that you guys have been putting down in the comment section on YouTube. That is so awesome. I think we would like to get together and kind of read your stuff and discuss some of the ones that you've sent us. So we'll try to do that. And thank you guys for subscribing to our channel. If you haven't already, just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you like this video, you liked our rambles. And thanks again. And we're going to go now.
So bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. No. Bye-bye.
Oh, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.